Hi everyone, Mon here and welcome to the channel, Intuitive Soul Savant. And we are all soul savants if we're consciously on a path of more than personal development, more along the lines of maturing our awareness, our self-awareness, even to the point of activating your light body, which is a real thing, and ascending out of this mundane energy that humanity has been dealing with for the last couple of thousands of years as we've gone through the Kali Yuga. All right, so how are we all? I'd like to say, in my opinion, and from my awareness, that these eclipses, the first eclipse that we had at 20 degrees in Leo, and the following eclipse, which will be around 5 degrees in Pisces, are very, very important eclipses. Now, why would I say that? Because we've had eclipses since the start of astrology. And that's how astrology started, back in Mesopotamia. And the king asked some gentlemen to track the eclipses, because every time there was an eclipse, a king died, right? So that's why astrologers talk about eclipses and someone in power dying. So what the people did, in their lack of awareness, they would put a commoner, somebody else, a fake king, dress him all up and put him in his place when the eclipse happened. And they would hide the real king from the eclipse. It's funny, isn't it? And then after the eclipse had happened, they would kill the fake king, because that's what they believed had to happen. An eclipse happens, a king dies, right? So from that moment on of tracking the eclipses, then astrology started on its journey to the expansion that it is today, okay? And it's a wonderful, wonderful way to self-reflect, to know thyself through astrology. And it also activates your intuition. The longer you study astrology, the stronger your intuition is formed around your moment-by-moment life. And if we are self-aware, we are self-aware each moment of the day. It is only when we run off in our mind that we lose that moment that we are actually living in. There is no purpose. Life has no purpose. It is what it is. And if life has no purpose, then we have no purpose. The only purpose, if you wanted to use that word purpose, which humans feel they need a purpose to feel comfortable within themselves and not be in this time of not knowing, right? If you think you've got a purpose, you think you know. Right? And really, all we know is that life changes and we only have this moment as our reality. So there is no purpose. Have a think about that. I was shown that in meditation, and it's really freed so much of my inner self with that revelation. We don't have a purpose. Our purpose is to live in the moment and allow life to flow us along like a pebble. Just flow us along, roll with life. Beautiful. So let's get back to these eclipses. So the South Node is in Leo, North Node is in Aquarius. It has been 19 years since we've had the South Node in Leo. Now, if you think about it, my channel, this channel here, our channel, attracts over 45-year-olds. So I'm glad about that, because the younger people would probably find me boring, because I don't use astrology as entertainment. I live it now. After 40-odd years, I actually live astrology and numerology. So it's my reality now, okay? I'm very aware that astrology doesn't make things happen to me. I'm just aware of the energy. And after, decades, when you study astrology, after a time, you won't see the word of the sign or the planet. You will feel the energy. You will understand the energy of the planet, the sign, and the numerological value as well. It's all energy, okay? So with this with this Aquarius axis, with Leo's axis, the energies 19 years ago were nothing like now. Nothing like now. And since we have progressed and expanded and have started to look at humanity and the shadow of humanity, which has been going on for thousands of years. It's just that it's exposed now, and it started being exposed with the Pluto in Capricorn, the patriarchy, all right, top down control. So things have changed in the last 19 years. And because the North Node is in Aquarius, we have Pluto in Aquarius that is transforming the human collective. So therefore, these eclipses are so, so important, because this North Node and Pluto will be opposing Jupiter and the South Node in Leo. And Leo is ruled by the Sun. And if the Sun doesn't come out, well, we don't live. The Sun is our source of power and illumination on this planet. So the Sun is very important. When we speak astrology, it's our sun sign. We are light bodies. So these eclipses are so, so important in helping Pluto in Aquarius transform the collective, because the way the collective is transformed is by its parts, which is us. Each individual part forms the whole, the collective. So we are transforming. We don't even have to have Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, or Taurian energies activated in our chart, but most of us do, because we're old souls, and we know that grand cross of the Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio, we know that's fixed. That's fixed energy of each of the elements. And fixed means I don't change easy. I'm not talking about myself. I'm just talking in general astrology. Fixed means I'm holding on until push comes to shove, and I will have to change then. So that is a bit of a shame. It's sort of like a Saturn energy as well. Saturn will push until you just must let go and become sober. Everything is like a sober energy where you're on the right track. So that's what we're dealing with. Now, Leo also rules the ego, the self, the sun, and Leo energy loves to shine. And the thing about Leo energy, it loves to shine out to the collective, the Aquarius energy. But we all shine. We all have the ability to shine. And with these eclipses, what is most important is, are we shining to be validated? It's the validation. What is social media about? And we've got Uranus in Gemini. So Uranus is changing, awakening. What isn't working or needs changing in Gemini, our communication with each other, our communication on social media. Now, validation and the ego can be tricky, because the mind, Gemini energy, can persuade us that we're actually doing it for the benefit of the collective. However, if we're not self-aware we're not really aware of those feelings within, especially the second chakra and the third chakra, whether we are actually shining from the third chakra, or are we shining from the second chakra to be validated. That's where our child sits, is in that second chakra. That's where the wounds sit, in the second chakra. And we've got to be grounded from the first chakra to be able to clear the energy. That humanity, it's not just an individual thing. The first, second, and third chakra has been blocked for modern man. So we're all out there shining, 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 but underneath it all is a low self-worth, a low self-esteem, and we're not really shining to shine. We're shining because we need the validation. Okay, whereas with Aquarius, Aquarius honors the individual that makes up the collective. So Pluto in Aquarius would rather see each individual shine for themselves, overcome the shadow of humanity's sins of the fathers, and shine for the sake of it. And it is subtle. It is very, very subtle. And when, if you know my channel and you go back to the earlier videos, you'll see how I've changed just through the Pluto work, which I've continued on. And having Pluto conjunct my descendant, 7th house, and Venus conjunct that descendant, retrograde, I've really been shown the truth of this, because Venus is those relationships. But with the retrograde Venus, we start life with very, very low self-esteem, and our environment proves that to us and confirms that, because a retrograde Venus is often born into a very dysfunctional, abusive family. To rise up and find that self-worth within, without the validation of others or the love of others. And Venus rules love. But as I've said before, we don't own love. Love flows through us. Our heart needs to be open for the love to flow through us. Otherwise, there's an agenda to our giving or loving on something. If we're sharing our heart, if our heart isn't healed and opened, there's an agenda attached. So these eclipses, and we've only got 18 months, we only have 18 months to do this work. I think we do get another round of Jupiter in Leo before Pluto moves on. Okay, we do get another round. So this is how important it is. Those eclipses that we had, and then Jupiter's come into Leo, and astrologers have gone, yeah, great time, Leo, you're going to win the lottery, yeah, everything's wonderful. Well, Jupiter is we look at Jupiter in astrology as a benefic, because it expands, but it also expands what's not good as well, okay, or what we perceive to be not good. All right. So yes, Jupiter brings expansion, and often it's associated, because of our mundane third dimensional life, it's associated with finances, okay, and wealth. And back in the day when the gods were ruling the minds of men, it was about our agriculture and feeding our family and feeding the town and all that sort of stuff, okay? So Jupiter is expanding in Leo. Leo's got these big egos. You'll hear a lot of astrologers discuss the fact that that Jupiter and the South Node in Leo is going to bring down, the influences and the entertainment industry, all those areas that rely on ego. It's ego. Hollywood is ego. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Hand me the money. So, it's all a bit not fair, and it's all a bit out of whack. And Pluto in Aquarius is here to level that ground. So the South Node meeting Jupiter, and the South Node will be there longer than Jupiter will be in Leo. So that South Node is coming along so that we can release the shadow of Leo, which we all have, not just Leos. We all have the sun somewhere, and we all like to shine in some way. And if we don't, it's usually due to a shadow where we've been hurt when we were younger and we don't have the self-worth, and we're not outward energy people. We're more introverts rather than extroverted energy out into the world. Leo's energy is very out into the world. And Leo doesn't like to be wrong either. So that's a big shadow of making the mistake and then not being able to apologize for that mistake. So I'm going to leave it here. I've actually got the whole week's transits, right? I'll do today's, okay, because I don't want this video to go on too long. And I actually didn't know I was going to talk for that amount of time. I did want to mention the eclipses. And now we have Mercury that's in Leo as well. So Mercury went retrograde in Cancer. We all pulled back, went within, started thinking about that inner self as it retrograded, our home life, our family life, as Mercury retrograded in Cancer. And now he's going hell for leather through Leo. He's really speeded up. So today, and at 9:25 p.m. here, Sydney time, Saturday, which will be very early in the morning for you in the Northern Hemisphere, we have Mercury in Leo conjunct Jupiter in Leo. So now we can start thinking about this stuff. And if you're on a personal development path, the ego is what we want to manage. You never lose the ego, but the more within, the more you get to know yourself, you get to recognize the ego. And if you're a daily meditator, you get to see the ego in action without interfering with it. And the more you meditate, the less the ego wants to speak out and protect itself. So these times, these eclipses are just amazing, right? Mercury in Leo conjuncting Jupiter in Leo today at 10 degrees and 9 minutes. And then Mercury is speeding along to the 25th of August. Around then, that Mercury will conjunct that South Node. So Mercury has already opposed Pluto and got the heads up on what we're actually doing and why is it all a little painful these last couple of weeks, and why do eclipses bring something up into our conscious awareness and then ask us to let go of it, to give it over, to let go of it. That's what eclipses are about. And having a Leo rising, my gosh, you know, I could tell you the stories, but it's just a story. I've had to do the inner work within, take responsibility for my part in any of it, and let go of what isn't serving me and move on. And here's the key. The eclipse at 5 degrees of Pisces is that last eclipse in the Pisces-Virgo opposition. So we're still getting the message from Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces and the North Node in Pisces that we're on a spiritual path. It's our ego that we are dealing with. And with that ego, we are shown how much validation are we needing from others. Because it's only when we go within and connect with divinity, our higher self, our inner child, our ancestors, the angels, the ascended masters, whoever you identify with, to show you you're not alone in this journey. That's all it is. But once you connect into the divine and balance your divine feminine, your divine masculine, the ego is happy to step back The ego is exhausted. My ego is exhausted. I thought it was my soul, but it's not my soul. It's my ego. It is so sick of trying to hold up the show and keep the show running. It's exhausted. But remember, the ego protects the inner child. So the ego is not going to let up just like that, because it's all about survival, the human being, the earthy human side of ourselves. So there's balance needed. But even if you could stop and look where you're getting your validation from. Do you really need that validation? Oh dear, that validation is showing me where I'm not validating my own self. I have let go of Facebook, let go of Instagram. I only watch podcasts on YouTube. And oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe how good I feel, because I don't need the validation. When I left Facebook months ago and Instagram, nobody's contacted me. Messenger's still sitting there. I'm just not getting notifications. Nobody's bothered with me. So why was I giving all that attention, posting nice stuff, trying to encourage people my age that life isn't over yet? Look, you too can do what I do. You've got gifts to give. But the thing that stops people shining is that self-esteem. They'll tell themselves, oh, no, I don't want to do that, you know. But leaving those two platforms, no one cares. And I feel free because I don't have to be validated by anybody on those platforms. And there's reasons why, and of course you know why, the toxicity of it all, you know. And it's just a beautiful, I feel like I'm back before internet in a way. That freedom of not having to move to the phone when it pings. It's insane, isn't it? A natural life, a more natural life. All right, so I'm going to come back tomorrow because it'll be too long if I go through all the transits for the week. But just for today, Mercury is conjuncting Jupiter. Let's think about what I've said, okay? If you want to grow and be free of suffering, to be detached from this 3D earth system, living in the world but not of it, then this is a fantastic time with the nodes in Aquarius and Leo. Fixing yourself, fix the collective. We do not have to run out there and save the world, all right? We've just got to love on ourselves, heal ourselves by activating our light body and letting go of validation that humans require unknowingly from others. Validate ourselves. It's really simple, but you've got to be on that journey to do it. It's not an overnight thing, of course. You've got to do your shadow work. And we're being shown that life is at a place where I'm very comfortable with it now, but I know most aren't. And that is that we don't know what's going to happen. The uncertainty of life. That's where we're at. Because of all that media and all those threats that are going on out there, real or imagined, life is uncomfortable because most humans like to know that there's security. But unsurety doesn't go well with security when you're a human being. Then you're human doing to try to, make yourself feel okay. But we are okay without all of that going on. We're connected. We are connected. We are divinity. That's what's keeping us going, not an income or whatever else. So I'm going to go, or otherwise I'll keep talking and talking. I love you all. Thank you so much. Total compassion, right? You've got to have compassion for yourself. Then you can understand others. It may get to the point where people are really uncomfortable, and we need to stand strong and have that compassion and not get carried away with that wave, because that's not the wave we want to be on. All right, we want to be on the ascension wave. Thank you, everybody. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.